From JA to UK to LA and everywhere else now, this is a podcast strictly influenced by Jamaican music, brought to you by Eric Kohler and Junor Francis. Well, if you're driving in your car or you're sitting home alone, the Junior entertain you on his microphone. History of LA Ska. Yeah, hear stories from a guest while we all have a blast. From LA to Jamaica, it's in the podcast. The history of LA Ska. Of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. History of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. Of LA Ska. It's the history of LA Ska. One more time, yeah. It's the history of LA Ska.
Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm your host, Junor Francis, alongside our producer and my good friend, Eric Kohler. This series celebrates the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversations with legends and modern-day talent, including those behind the scenes. So whether you listen this podcast series or watch on YouTube, we want to thank you everlastingly for your support. And please remember to subscribe. We cannot emphasize that enough. Please remember to subscribe. On this amazing episode, we welcome 3 members of the Calamatix. Did I say it correctly?
That's right.
Yes, Calamatix.
Wonderful. Yes, indeed. I nailed it on the head. New Southern California-based quartet who are rooted in reggae, rocksteady, ska, and soul with a punk sensitivity.
And sensibilities. Sensitivities, sensibilities.
Yeah.
Good Junior.
Punks are sensitive.
There we go. Exactly. So let's see. Welcome, Raylin Joy, singer, vocalist, drummer, producer, Clarence Pocket Kid III.
How you doing?
And last but absolutely not least, guitarist Adam Porris. And while we're at it, will you quickly give a shout out to your 4th member who's not part of this at the moment?
Oh yeah, Maddie Taylor.
Yep, shout out to William Matthew Taylor, known as Matty.
Nice. Calamatix, thanks so much for joining us. It's really nice to meet you all, and we're ready to have some fun. Junior.
Indeed, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So let's start with where each one of you were born and raised.
I was actually born in Ventura, California, but I moved to Scotland with my family as a young baby, and I grew up there for the first 23 years of my life.
Wow.
I definitely identify as Scottish. Don't let the accent fool you. But I'm kind of like a Cali Scottish girl.
There definitely is an accent. Where in Scotland?
A little town called Dunfermline. It's just north of Edinburgh.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. And you moved here with family or solo?
Do you mean
Sorry,
when I
moved back.
Scotland or when I came back?
No,
When I came back, I moved by myself. I was 23 and I was embarking on living out my dreams. So I took the plunge and I kind of moved back to LA by accident. I always wanted to move to LA, but then I came to LA on a vacation and just never left because I'm very spontaneous. But all worked out, thank goodness.
Yes, nice,
Wow.
nice.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about that as well. Clarence, how about you?
So I was born in Los Angeles, California. I am a true LA baby, LA native. Grew up kind of around the South Central area, 108th and Western, and kind of toggle between there and Watts, California, where I pretty much was raised. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a SoCal born and raised as well. So
Me too.
Nice.
we've adopted you, Junior. Adam, how
Last
about
but
you?
not least,
I grew up in Cleveland, born and raised there, and then at 18 I moved to Boston for school, and that's actually where Clarence and I met in college. And then after being in Boston for a long time, I realized that my dreams were in LA, so I followed the path out here, and then the rest is history.
What was the college in Boston?
Berklee College of Music.
Never heard of it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's just like
Right?
a spot.
Yeah. Skilled musicians. I love it.
so when did you first discover Jamaican music, ska, rocksteady, and perhaps, of course, reggae? When all three of you?
Well, I discovered it as a young teenager. My best friend at the time introduced me. We were big stoners, so I discovered like Bob Marley is always the one you hear of first. So like Bob Marley, Alton Ellis, the Jamaicans, and we used to just jam out in my room and run around smoking weed and listening to reggae.
That's some good old school rock steady.
So that's in Europe.
Yeah, this was in Scotland.
So that's I am assuming there's a super abundance of Jamaican music in Scotland, right?
Yeah, you'd actually be surprised. There's a big market for reggae and ska there. Obviously, two-tone ska was kind of born in England, so there's a lot of Jamaicans in England, so it just kind of it's gonna happen. So yeah, it wasn't very hard to discover.
Did you notice at that time in Scotland, were there local reggae or ska bands that you would ever?
There were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple. I mean, it's like I wouldn't say it's like underground, but it's definitely like a little bit more niche out there. Like, because most of the music that you hear is like dance music or like there's a lot of like garage was really popular back in the day. So yeah, it was definitely there. And like even in small towns, like I actually was just in Scotland and we went to a reggae night and it was awesome. Like it's so funny when you see the kinds of people that are there and rocking out to it, like everyone loves it, like
all different
people
types
that you wouldn't think love it are like jamming out to it. So it's really awesome.
That was like a DJ night?
No, it was a live band.
Live. Okay. Nice.
I may ask if you remember what band was that?
It was they were playing cover songs. So I can't remember the name of them, but they were playing like a lot of Bob Marley.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, that can get the crowd rocking for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Clarence, how about you?
So for me, probably started in elementary because so a neighbor of mine, a good friend of mine, his family was actually his parents were from Jamaica. And so spending a lot of time at his house as a kid, of course, you start hearing the tunes over there and it's like, hey, what is that? You kind of start hearing something new. And because we later at our school, we had like a band. And so we had a talent show one time and I remember him wanting to perform a song. And so we kind of went over it and studied everything, which it actually was a Hellcat tune. And I remember us learning that and playing that kind of like, I think it was like 6th grade, going into junior high, something like that. And, from there, I just kind of dug in because, different sound, different. I mean, of course, off Bob Marley and everything else, I've kind of heard like the commercial stuff, but just digging into some of those deep grooves or deep cuts. And, he hit me to a lot of that. And from there, it was just always, being a drummer, you're a fan of just rhythm and certain polyrhythms and how they blend and, the one drops and everything. So from there, it was just a natural inclination for me.
So that was the first time that you came across Hellcat?
Yeah. Once he exposed me to it, absolutely. Yeah, wow. He hit me to them. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, one of the all-time true treasure here in Los Angeles.
Yes. Right.
And Greg Lee's passing is really hit hard. Adam?
Yeah. My dad smokes weed, so I just kind of always heard reggae in the house. And I was like, you didn't really know like what reggae was. You're just like, that's just the music that's kind of like always on, like reggae and world music. Like he would always have like on the radio, like the dial-ups all the way to the end that would like only play like the world and reggae music. And then for me, it kind of transitioned in the late 90s to dancehall. Like I'm a big fan of Buju Banton and Capleton. And then in college, I got into my first tour that I ever did was in a ska band. So I went like a 3-week tour with the ska band. And then
which ska band?
It was a college band that it dissolved. And then it wasn't until I actually was in Jamaica a few years ago with my partner and I discovered rocksteady, and I'm a huge Motown fan. And then when I found out that is just the Jamaicans' answer to Motown, I was like obsessed from there. I'm like, and then so I have like actually a specific mixtape that our my Jamaican tour guide, like he played the entire time. And like, you need to burn me this CD right now. And I've been listening to it on repeat ever since. And that's
Nice.
when I got obsessed with it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we've talked about this many times over the years, and Junior can say this best, but you'd put so many rock steady singers neck and neck and can compete against any soul singer.
Yeah, which is when I first came to the actualization that Jamaican singers are just as good as American singers. Because in Jamaica, they would tell you that, American music is better than Jamaican music. Hence, they wouldn't play it on the radio as much as they should have.
Mhm.
And I remember listening to Alton Ellis, a dance crasher, and I said, but this is just as good as Otis Redding, Percy Sledge. So I convinced myself in that particular moment that Jamaican singers are just as good. And henceforth.
Yeah. I mean, rocksteady is my favorite era.
Yeah, very soulful era. Very, shortly but extremely soulful era.
Right. Between the singing groups, I'd stack the Melodians against some of the American singing groups too. So
yeah. At that time, those singers have such a feel and a flavor that's only specific to Jamaica and like on the island. So the knowledge and feel that they have is unparalleled to me, and not even like as on the same level of any of the Motown singers, but even better in their own genre. They've created like their own genre. That's amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, and you listen also how like a singer like Ken Booth, as his renditions of some American songs. I mean, his version of "Is It Because I'm Black?" I mean, is rivals the original. I mean, he's just consistently good.
Well, the first time I think Paul McCartney heard Pat Kelly, he said, "We need to know him and record him."
Nice.
Never heard a voice like that before. I mean,
that says a lot. Yeah.
Really.
Well, so sticking on along these lines, but does not have to by any means be of Jamaican music. But who are some of your biggest influences, whether it be singing or drummer influences, guitars, whatever? Like, who are some of your biggest musical influences that has helped shape who you are now?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of soul and like jazz. Like that's what my parents were listening to. I used to listen to a lot of my parents were always listening to like Earth, Wind and Fire, big Mariah Carey, like that was always playing in the house. Some of my recent inspirations, I love Amy Winehouse. She's one of my favorites. Love Gwen Stefani, obviously. So I think when I was really starting to discover ska specifically, obviously No Doubt was one of the first bands that I really gravitated towards. Definitely like soul, jazz. Those are my main inspirations.
Nice. Those are great inspirations.
For me, it's Prince. Like I've been obsessed with Prince for a long time. That's one of the reasons Clarence and I connected. We always talk about that, and that whole his feel and flavor and ability to just master the instrument and any instrument is just unparalleled to me.
Underrated guitarist. I mean, just incredible.
Yeah. Like genuinely, like he's like one of the greatest guitar players. He's always like never on that list. It's amazing to me.
Did you ever get a chance to see Prince perform?
Oh, I got a story about that. I actually have it in my living room. I was front row for one of his concerts, and it was in the Rainbow Children Tour in 2001, and I had my foot on the stairs up to the steps. So it was like, whereas 2 seats on my seat was here with the stairs. I had to move my foot so Prince could sit down where my foot was and play the most incredible guitar solo I've ever heard in my entire life. Like it was nothing. And he's like looking me in the eyes. I'm like, how are you doing this? And he was actually sewn into his suit, and his boots had the little symbol on them, like that's a zipper. Like, wow. And then at the end of the concert, he gave me a tambourine that I still have.
Wow.
Yeah,
really? Was that here in Los Angeles or back?
No, it was in Cleveland. Yeah, it was in Cleveland. Yeah. And he says, please return after the show. I'm like, absolutely not. This is mine. Prince gives me.
Wow. Yeah. That's
right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So true. Clarence?
Man, loaded question because there are so many influences. I'm just a music fanatic. I love all genres and styles. I was exposed to a lot of music as a kid, so listening to everything from classical, because my mom's plays violin.
Oh, no.
So, from classical all the way to gospel roots, of course, R&B, jazz, pretty much you name it. But if I would say, and honestly, one thing that I really kind of dove into, because again, as a drummer, you study drummers, and I will say that when I heard Carlton Barrett or when I've heard like Tony Allen, because seeing just how they apply their own style of drumming different to where it's like they created their own genre of drumming where nobody else sounded like that and was playing like that.
Yes.
That blew my mind because it was completely unorthodox. And hearing that, it just kind of opened my mind to like, oh, okay, this is how I want to play, or this is how I want to channel and be able to make the feeling that I feel from hearing them. I want to be able to make people feel that. So, just laying in that pocket and making the song just groove and move and sound good. So yeah, that was my influence. Like
I mean,
they have impact.
Yeah, those are two of the
Yep, right.
of the top of the crafts.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to ask if you go back to Ska, Nibs.
Yeah, Nibs, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Even with that, I mean, yeah, like phenomenal. Yeah, definitely.
I don't think there's a drummer that you can ask that he won't know and then tell you about all the styles.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely. Being hip to those Scatterlight records, and me, same thing. Hearing Lloyd, it was just like, oh wow, okay, this is grooving, this is moving, and so yeah, that had an impact on me as well.
Right, interesting.
Lloyd Nibs, definitely another great.
We've had the pleasure of interviewing a few different drummers from the LA scene, some of which got their start in the late '80s and '90s, and they've all credited and said that the first time they got to see the Scatterlights perform in the, let's call it early '90s, with Lloyd Nib on drums, they all realized they were playing ska, traditional ska, incorrectly.
Yeah.
And so they can credit, and they know from that time forward, it changed their sound. When we're talking about the, like the Willie McNeil Jump with Joey, and Oliver Charles, of Ocean 11, and Greg Narvis for Hellcat. Anyways, it's pretty fascinating, and yeah, one of the all-time greatest.
Along that line too, Derek Morgan, when we interviewed him, really made a good point in that a lot of the drummers were playing American style until Nibs came around. That's when Ska really was born, and Jamaican music started coming into fruition. He shifted the focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Ooh, I'm about to go into a deep dive in this because I don't know much about this player. So I am very excited about this. There's going to be a YouTube tutorial for the next 3 hours. Finding new players.
There's actually a really good interview. It's audio only, but you can find it on YouTube. Chris Murray did an audio interview with Lloyd Nib from the Scatterlights when I think it was around the time that Chris Murray used to do the Blue Beat Lounge. But you can find it. It's literally just Chris Murray interviewing Lloyd Nib, and it's about, I don't know, half hour long. But Chris asked some really good questions, and Lloyd goes back to the creation of ska. So yeah, really
awesome.
Yeah,
I got it on my list.
There we go.
Fantastic.
I think that's how we learn,
Yeah.
Shift focus. What's the first group you all played in? All three of you. First group.
The first time we all played together?
The first group, is this the first time together, or were you in a group prior to the formation of the Calamatix?
You mean individually or all together?
Yeah, man, individual, each person.
Okay, well, this is my first band. I've done some solo stuff in the past, but actually it's funny, me, Clarence and Adam, when I was doing my solo stuff, we all played together. So we were doing like showcases and like open mics and stuff like that, just starting out. And so when I was talking to Tim about, putting a band together, they're the first people I thought of.
So then I need to follow up with it. How did the three of you meet?
Well, me and Adam go way back. We'd met through mutual friends, but then when I was doing my solo stuff, we got in the studio and it was the first time we'd like played together, and we realized right away that there was definitely something really magical there.
Nice.
We were like jamming, like I was in the booth singing and he was playing guitar at the same time. We were just like playing together, and it's just that moment where it clicks, and we've been working together ever since then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the same for me. Like I'll never forget that studio that day. I just being like, there's just like a musical connection that you feel. You're just like, awesome. Like it was so easy to play with her. And as a guitarist, I like to accompany singers. It's just really natural for me. And it was just no effort at all to play with her. And the same thing with Clarence is his pocket and feel is so natural for me to just lock into. And that's how we kind of all started with that, of and then when the three of us came together, it was just a super, super feel of just pocket and groove and fun.
So Adam, you introduced Clarence to Raylin? Is that?
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
because we met in Boston in 2003. That's kind of what I say, like when the band started. That's when Clarence and I met, and that was the first band that we played together in. Low Key. That was the band. Yeah, it was a Boston neo soul R&B band, and
okay.
Yeah, and that was where we met in 2003, and then coming out here, I think that was around 2013 or 2014 when we did that showcase. So I was around then.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Well, so then talk about how that parlayed into the Calamatix.
Well, the Calamatix, I mean, the birth of the Calamatix was many years ago. Tim is an old friend of mine, and my best friend from Scotland, the one that introduced me to reggae and ska, she was in town, and we were like, let's all get together and write a rocksteady song, just for fun. And we wrote the first Calamatix song right there and then.
Wow.
I mean, at the time, we weren't thinking it was going to really go anywhere. Like, we were just kind of writing for shits and giggles and, just to have some fun. And eventually we just kept writing over the years, and it got to the point where Tim and I were like, we really have something here. Like, at first it was like, wow, we have enough for an EP. And then we just kept writing. It was like, wow, we have enough for an album now. Like, this is really cool. Like, we can't let these songs just sit there and not be heard. So that was when we were like, let's put a band together and we can like really push this. And that was when I called Adam up and asked him like, hey, do you play rocksteady ska? And he was like, he sent a video over of him just like rocking out and showed it to Tim, and Tim was like blown away. And then it just kind of like snowballed from there. And then, Adam hit up Clarence and Maggie, and it just kind of, it was a really like organic growth, because it was just friends having fun, and it just kind of grew into what you hear now.
And that clearly comes across in your recordings and your playing, and I guess Raylin, I'd read a little bit, and I was wondering if you can just touch on this because I think it's important too. I read that you were able to channel some of your emotional struggles and depression into your songwriting.
Yeah, I think as an artist, that's what you do. You take your emotions and you turn it into some art form,
Right.
and it helps. It's like very cathartic. And at the time, I was going through a bit of a rough patch, and for a long time, writing with Tim was like my therapy. And I would, maybe be having like a really rough week or whatever, and then go in thinking like, oh, I just want to like, I would think that I was going to write a really sad song or something, and we would end up writing something that was like really uplifting and kind of like more positive. And, you know, it just, so like I said, it was just really cathartic and a really, really good way to like work through stuff and feel good about myself. And yeah, it's just, music is so beautiful that way. You know, it's such a amazing emotive thing to channel into.
Absolutely.
Yes. Though I'm not
Well
a musician, but I'm inclined to believe it's extremely difficult to find a group of people to mesh with, to form a band, just to work with.
Yeah, I think that it's special when you find those people that you really click with.
True. And you wanna hold on to them and right. But like any relationship, right? It's there's clearly
Oh yeah.
You have to really trust each other and be on the road so much. And you have to, you know, you're getting some notoriety. You're really and truly out there. So a lot of trust.
And no egos.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How did you touch on Tim momentarily? How did the relationship start with Tim, and what role did Tim play in shaping the sound that and vibes of the album?
And just so that everyone knows, it's Tim Armstrong, Time
Big
Bomb
name in
Tim,
the fraternity.
Rancid fame, Operation.
Big
The
name,
legend.
Indeed, the legend.
not
yes.
just California, but
Right.
globally.
Right.
Well, we have mutual friends, so that was where that started. And we had never like worked together before. Like some of the first times we ever hung out was making music, you know. So that's how that started. We've always had a musical connection.
Yes. And clearly, so let's talk about some of the songs. I first discovered you all through the Hellcat Singles Club. Book of Love, right? That was a song that was right.
Yeah, that was our first single.
The first single. And so when was that one actually recorded, and when was it released as part of the Singles Club? Last year, right?
Yeah, it was released at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember when we recorded it. Feel like it was like 2022.
So a couple of years ago or so, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
It was in October of 2022. And
I knew it was 2022. I knew it.
I think it was October.
So we just come back to the pandemic, right?
Technically, wasn't it recorded before then though? Because y'all had already sent us as kind of a scratch version of it, to where it was already recorded, and then we came in and basically kind of revamped that a tad bit. But it was already recorded because you and Tim, that was one of the early ones that you were all working on, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah. I don't think it was definitely in 2022 though. I know that because 2020 obviously nothing happened.
Yeah, right.
A lot happened.
And right?
A lot happened.
True.
Right.
Yeah. So and also right now, so Book of Love is out there. People can find that.
How's the sale?
Well, online, right? So you can clearly find that, which is great. And you have 3 other singles right now that the fans can enjoy, like I'm enjoying. Love Lies and Alibis, which I would loosely describe as like a nice upbeat, you know, ska type tune. Root Style, which is a more little old school reggae type vibe. And then I believe the more recent one, Boom Bap, which is a little more soulful, you know, groovy type tune, but very a wide range of styles, right? That clearly all fit you all really well. Are you happy with, or are you surprised with any of the fan response? How has that been so far as you gear up for the release of your album?
Wonderful. Love it. Like all the responses have been fantastic, and having our music be heard and responded to this way, it feels amazing to have this actual response for a new band. It feels really wonderful. I know I'm speaking for myself of how joyful that is to have that response.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just blown away because I mean, this is a project that's been in the works for such a long time. So the fact that people are actually hearing it, like I've been jamming out to this for a long time now, and just like
Right.
chomping at the bit, like, let's release it. Like, I want it out. So it's just really, really amazing getting to see everybody's responses, and it's all been very, very positive. So I'm so excited for people to hear the full record, because there's a lot of songs that aren't going to be singles that are some of my favorites. So yeah, I'm freaking stoked.
Clarence,
Yeah.
anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's been great. For me, I've been surprised by a lot of the responses, because normally just with some people I know who aren't necessarily into the whole ska rock steady thing, but they've listened to it and they've been like, yo, I actually like this. So in a sense, it's kind of opened people's
Yeah.
musical palette. We've basically been a channel to do that. So I think that's very rewarding, because we technically musically changed a few people's lives. So
Yeah,
I've seen it firsthand, where people that I know. So
Yeah, you can
wow.
be the gateway. You can
Yeah.
bring them into the music that we all know and love.
Yeah.
So how, before you move,
yes.
so how are musicians able to keep track of streaming? How do you know the people are responding positively? Is there a way you find out?
Yes. So yeah, we have access to kind of the database where we can go and just kind of check our metrics to see, even what region, what city, what state, where is our biggest fan base, who's
Modern
listening.
technology.
Yeah, who's streaming right now? We can see if who's streaming the song in this moment if I bring up the screen. So that's been a pretty good gauge to be able to kind of see the responses that we're getting, as well as the video stuff, even YouTube. People get on there, they comment, and so all of those things. So that's pretty much how we can keep a gauge on everything.
And are you pleased?
Are you pleased
with the motion? Are you pleased with the movement, the response so far?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, for me, I am. Yeah, I'm definitely pleased with it. It's showing growth and constant movement. And again, like I said, people are giving positive feedback. Of course, for me, because just the music industry wise, I know there's always kind of like the cynics who are going to say something negative or something of that nature. But honestly, we haven't had much of that. It's all been positive, just good, feel good feedback. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
So September 20th, the self-titled album, right? Self-titled?
Yes.
Yep. Drops on Hellcat Epitaph. Obviously, this label has a rich history of quality ska, reggae, obviously, then of course punk and other genres, but just sticking with the music originally rooted in Jamaica. But we talk about Joe Strummer, Hepcat, Slackers, Aggrolites, Westbound Train, Mighty Boss Tones, Pie Tasters, like so many incredible groups, over the last few decades have released music thanks to Hellcat and Epitaph. So what does it mean to you? Obviously, I know Raylin, you've known Tim for a while, but what does it mean to you specifically to be working with that record label?
I think it's such a huge honor, I mean, there's so many amazing artists that are represented by Hellcat. I also, as a cat lady, love that I'm on Hellcat, because I just think it fits so well, It was meant to be. But seriously though, yeah, it's really an honor.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was in 5th grade at a roller skating birthday party, and I heard The Offspring for the first time. I remember hearing that, and I remember seeing the reaction. And then when we went in for our first meeting at Epitaph, I listened to that song and I said, could you imagine that kid in 1994 where you're at right now? And it was a moment of just absolute gratitude.
Right. Probably very surreal.
Absolutely. Like, what is my life? And it was great. It was great.
Yeah, huge. Clarence, if you add to that.
Yeah, so for me, definitely a surreal moment. I was kind of doing session work in the pop world, And so to be able to now venture off into this side, because again, as musicians, we have a lot of music in us, right? And we want to explore and do other things, but sometimes you get boxed in. So for this door to open and be able to just navigate into another journey and lane on a great label that you actually, enjoy the music and artists, it's surreal. It's a great thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so what the rest of the album sounds like?
Amazing.
Garbage.
Beyond that, could you dig deeper, go beyond the surface?
There's definitely like because I mean all the songs have their own vibe, obviously from what you've heard. But there's
It's
definitely
polka.
like
It's polka.
it's
It's a polka record. It's polka.
You draw them in with the ska and reggae, but then you give them the
But yeah, you'll definitely hear the old school rock steady sound a lot on the album. Actually, the first song, the one that I mentioned earlier, the first song we ever wrote is actually on the record as well, which is very special. And that's so you'll really get to hear where Calamatix started.
Okay. What now? Can you share the name of that song?
It's called Before It Stops.
Before It Stops.
Before It Stops.
Okay.
Interesting.
Got it. The very first song written by you all. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and that one's especially special for me because me and my bestie are harmonizing on it, and it was just like a really magical moment that getting to record music together.
Yeah. That's great.
So yeah, it's very special.
And will so Book of Love, which was part of the Hellcat singles, will that also be on the album?
Yes, that's on there as well.
Okay. How many total tracks?
12?
Yeah, 12.
12.
And is there a release date? Did you mention the release date earlier?
September 20th?
Yeah, September
September
20th.
20th.
Do you guys plan going on tour to promote the album?
Yeah,
We are
have
actually-
shows coming up now.
Yeah, we're doing a California run. The first date of the run is the date that the album is released. So it's really cool. The people that come to that show are going to hear the album for the first time live. So you got to come to this show. It's going to be history.
And so speaking of which, perfect segue. So you have some dates you're doing with Left Alone, right? Which been around for a while, great group. And then some groups with Tropidelic.
Yes.
And that is that all California or all? Yes, right?
Yeah, it's all Cali.
All West Coast, yeah.
And in my opinion, right, so the styles of Left Alone and Tropidelic are obviously also very different. I think that's a testament to your diverse sound, right, as to the type of bands that you all could support. I take it that's by design, right? I mean, why not try to reach the widest, diverse audience in that sense, and try to build up that fan base right across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely mix genres a lot on this record. I think because we all come from different backgrounds as well, and Clarence has a great way of putting it. We're like a gumbo of sorts. It's a lot of different, an amalgamation of different sounds that, like, with the foundation of old school rock steady, like that's like where it started, but then it just kind of grew into its own thing really organically.
Yes, indeed. Right.
Interesting. So what can fans expect when they come to see you guys live in action?
Good music, fun times, dancing.
A lot of fun. Yeah, we have a lot of fun playing together. So
A lot of fun and positive vibes. We're approachable, we're tangible people. We love to speak with people, talk music all the time. Spread love and positivity. So, I mean, just coming to our show is kind of the experience of where you get an intimate show and you feel like where everybody leaves, like where they feel like there's somebody.
Yes. Will you sprinkle in any covers?
Slayer.
Possibly.
yeah, possibly.
Possibly. You
We
have
do
to
have a
come and
cover on
see.
the album. I won't tell you what it
Yeah.
is.
Okay,
but-
no, we'll leave that for a surprise. Yes.
And so did you guys say exactly where you're gonna perform in Los Angeles because you're gonna be, I think the interview will be out before the
Yes, it will.
performances.
Oh yeah, at the Mint on September
Okay.
20th
Oh
at the Mint.
yeah, that's well-established club in Los Angeles.
And then the following day is 21st at Anaheim in the Chain Reaction.
Action.
yes, that's
yes.
well
And then
established.
the Casbah in San Diego on the 22nd.
And those three are with Left Alone. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so from there, the tour goes where?
Then we have a day off, and then we'll be doing Sacramento, and then Fresno, and then back down to Hermosa Beach, so another LA area show, and then up to Bakersfield. So a lot of LA areas. We can't come on to the 20th. There's still a few other dates to come to.
And I think St. Rock is with Tropidelic, right?
Correct.
Right. Nice.
Because as luck would have it, we have fans all over the place. So
Indeed.
this
Good.
is where to get them to come out and see you guys in your debut
Right.
performance.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Come say hello. Come say hello.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will.
So we would be remiss not to talk about your two horns players. Can you talk about them?
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
our
gonna
friends.
introduce them, not who they are,
Yeah.
so they won't get angry, and their parents and their loved ones will actually see that you're acknowledging them.
And Junior sees Ruben sometimes, so we don't want Ruben to be upset with Junior.
Yeah, they're great. I was introduced to them through Tim, and we sent them some of the
By
songs.
name though, you didn't introduce their names.
Oh, Mark and Ruben.
Right. Mhm.
They're like a package. They're like the best horn players I've ever worked with.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's wild about Ruben too is talk about diverse too. There was one weekend where, or over maybe a 3-day period, he was doing something at the Dub Club, and then 2 days later he was playing with Boogaloo Assassins, right? So great Latin soul group. But yeah, and you see him a lot.
Yeah, and in the words of the highly respected boss harmony from the Dub Club, he said Ruben is the best and should be included in all conversation that deals with horn players, not just in Los Angeles but worldwide. I said,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and all of their ideas, like, because obviously before we brought them in, like the songs were great on their own, but when they played on the songs, they
Yeah.
just
That's right. Take it to another
transcend
level.
them. Like some of my favorite songs are my favorites because of Mark and Ruben.
Wow.
I'm a sucker for horns.
Yes,
Grew up
same.
in
Yeah.
Scott Abels. Dan Drummond is my lord.
I started on trumpet, so it's like I have an affinity for those players as well. So I like, yeah, guitar was actually
It's funny. I
the
played
fourth
horn in
instrument.
high school.
Look at that.
Eh,
Yeah.
Which
any particular?
It's like the tuba but smaller. Just
okay. Yep.
yeah.
And why did you stop?
I wanted to get more into guitar, and my music teacher was terrible in high school though. She smoked a lot and she smelled bad, and I didn't like so that's for that one. But yeah, I've always focused more on singing though. That's my
Yeah.
jam.
Right.
So you can tell when a horn plays out of line.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. After the album comes out September 20th, and after this string of dates, what does the rest of the year and into next year look like for you all?
Well, we're gonna just be concentrating on promoting the record, but we're gearing up more to 2025 and getting into festival season.
Right.
That's gonna be the real exciting stuff. I can't wait for.
And if you all could choose some, I'm gonna put you on the spot. If you can choose some bands to potentially support or go on tour with, if you had your wish list and you're putting it out there in the world, who might some of those be?
Besides,
No doubt would be good.
Right.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
No doubt would be
besides
good.
Bob Marley.
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Probably like the Interrupters too. Love those guys.
You're amazing.
Yeah, a friend of mine in Save Ferris, I love those guys too.
Right. Oh, those
Mhm.
are all quality.
As luck would have it, I know those guys through Eric. Those Yeah.
All solid, all great choices, and I am sure 2025 will be good to you between festivals and other support slots.
And by the way, the horn players are going on the road with you guys?
They're doing a few spot days because they're kind of on the road right now, but we're making it work, so they will hop on a few shows with us. So
Yeah, they
they'll
play
definitely be on the 20th.
Well, they playing Dirty Heads, right?
Yeah,
they play in the Dirty Heads.
Right. Okay.
yeah, but they'll be at the LA show on the 20th.
Oh, it is a must.
Yes.
They will be at the Mint.
Yeah, you have some real uncompromising folks out here.
Right.
I want to see nothing but the best.
Before we wrap things up here and reach our destination, as Junior likes to say, what is it so special about Tim that what makes Tim and his and what he adds, obviously magic to in collaboration with you all, but talk about Tim if you would again.
Yeah,
Tim's the
Tim,
best.
he's such a down to earth, like really like personable, fun to hang out with. He's an amazing writer and producer. I've learned learned so much from him. He's kind of turned into a mentor of sorts for me. And he's great to work with because like he always says there are no bad ideas. So, we'll just like bring every idea to the table and he's just like, yeah, that's amazing. Or like, let's tweak this a little bit. He's just really a great guy, solid guy.
Yeah, he's got the golden ear. It's incredible working with him. Like every day that I spend time with him, I learn so much, and I can't believe how much I grow as a player just by being in his presence. It's really amazing to do that, to be in that space. And then for the same moments for like me to play a guitar line and him go, "That's amazing." I'm like, this is surreal. Like, is this real life? This can't be real. And it is. And he gets such great work out of you because he's so supportive of who you are. And that's why I love working with him.
Nice.
Any words, Clarence?
Yeah, for me, I think Tim I call him a great hybrid. He's a great coach where he knows how to run the plays, but then at the same time, he's kind of like a great student as well, because like you say, no idea is a bad idea. That's one of his mottos. And so if you have a great idea and you run it past him, or even just throw the idea out, it sparks something in him to where he's like, oh, okay, so here, do it, play it, show me how you hear it, and allow that freedom for you to just go and kind of take the ball and run with it. And
Sounds
then
like
he'll sit back. Yeah, exactly. Pass the baton. Yeah, and then from there it's just it's a chemistry that just flows and it works well. Which sometimes it's just difficult to navigate. In the industry or with certain musicians, and it's totally fine. We all play our roles, but he, like I said, he's just the perfect coach to where he gets in like, okay, here's the play, let's run it, and he'll pass the ball or just point out the play, and then we run with it. So it's perfect.
I want to ask you guys individually about your parents, how they respond. I want to assume that your parents are all alive. How are they responding to your, growth, your new path you're traveling now?
Oh, my dad is so excited. I mean, I get my music background from my dad. He's an actor and musician, and he'll be at the show at the Mint. I'm very excited. It'll be the first time he's seen me like really perform as a singer. So
He's out here in Los Angeles?
He lives in Vegas. My dad's actually a Vegas native. We go back 3 generations in Vegas. Yeah, my mom's also very excited. They're both going to be there. So
people not mess with you.
My parents have been incredibly supportive. My mom, she's in the arts as well. She's a dancer and a dance teacher, and my father's a hairdresser. So they've always been supportive of my career. Every time that I post anything on my Instagram, my mom hearts it, likes it, and applauds it and gives it a thumbs up. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's getting heart, liked, and thumbs up.
I know moms are so funny like that. Like my mom,
Yeah.
whenever we release a music video, she'll text me like, "It's up to this many views now." Like, I don't even need to look. My mom just tells me.
Tell them to take the next step and actually boost. They can boost those posts, put some money behind it.
That's a creative.
Oh yeah.
My mom can't figure that out. She can't figure out how to do that.
No,
There's no way. Yeah. She actually asked me how to find something on YouTube. I'm like, you go to YouTube and you watch something. It's that simple. Well, where can I watch a video? On YouTube. Do I need an app? No, you just need to go to YouTube.
Put a little search, the little magnifying glass search thing. Yeah.
Clarence, I hope you're not the exception. Huh?
Nah, so it's funny because with my parents, I sent them kind of the videos, right? I had my sister send them to them because they're technologically like dinosaurs. So I had my sister show them the videos. So then my mom calls me and she's like, "I like the song." She's like, "Is that a band that you're working with?" I'm like, "Mom, go look at the video again." So then she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was you." Like she just, which shows how good, because she was so caught up in that trance of the music where she wasn't paying attention to, like, yo, your baby's right there. Like, so.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, no, I forgot to tell y'all that, but yeah, so that was one of those things. And same thing with my dad.
An extended families.
Oh,
My
yeah.
niece is obsessed too.
Your niece, all right.
Yeah, that's been getting a lot. She's been contributing to the views because she just wants to watch Root Style over and over and over again.
Yeah, we must talk about how amazing the content and the videos that you all have been releasing, and very, very creative and very vibrant and fun. And so there's been videos for all at least all three of your singles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far.
Yeah. And likely more to come. But is there anything, I know that we've just scratched the surface, but anything that you want to make sure that your fans, previous or maybe new fans, and our listeners and viewers know about either you individually or collectively?
So kind of to piggyback off of what Junior was asking earlier about extended family. So what I do for us, because I'm an educator, music educator. I teach in LA Unified with a few different schools and teach music. And so I have basically all of my classes subscribed to Calamatix stuff. I show them videos. I do lessons surrounding our songs, kind of playing all our singles rather, and kind of, do lessons on that and just kind of teaching them the rhythmic flow of stuff. So their support has been amazing. And really, to, like I said, because seeing a younger generation actually dig it, because, kids are brutally honest. If they don't like something, like, oh, it sucks. So that's been good as well as a great litmus test, going like back to even what Raylin said, how her niece loves it, puts it constantly on play. Same thing with my daughter. She and her friends, they'll play the song and stuff like that. How old is your daughter? So, huh?
How old is your daughter?
She's 9. She's 9.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 9 years old. So
a wonderful introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I like that aspect too, because it shows that children are listening to our music and can actually listen to it, and it's cool to where they can vibe with it and feel some type of way without having to bleep anything out or have to cut it off.
It also ensures that the music won't go the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So question about you as an educator. Are you optimistic about the youth and the role of live instrumentation in their lives? I know over time, right, not as many schools have music programs. I think maybe it's coming back and getting a little better again, but touch on that if you would.
Yeah, so I'm definitely optimistic about it. I'm definitely an advocate for music instruction, because what I find is, although like even within the music production classes that I teach, it gets to a point to where every kid becomes limited and they have a sound in their head or an idea that they're trying to get out, but they don't know how to get it out. And so that's when I tell them that's where the theory and learning how to play out these chords so you can, or at least pick out the melody. Just go to the piano and just try to pick out the melodies that you hear. Just take 2 fingers and search for it and try to figure it out, which then it gives them that extra tool. So when they come to a hurdle or kind of a stopping point, they could at least pull from, some other resources to be able to, cultivate the sound that they're looking for. I always like to provide a safe space for them as well. And I think that, because for me personally, music, growing up in LA, music was what kind of saved my life and kept me out of certain things within the toxic environment and things of that nature. So music is definitely therapeutic. It's important. And I think the more we get exposed to instruments, it helps us focus and tune in to, a great thing.
So when you say save your life, what do you mean?
So in regards to just because, again, growing up in a toxic environment, right? Neighborhood filled with gang issues, drug issues, and everything like that. To be able to find a refuge for me, my music program that I was in, it was that refuge to where after school I was surrounded in that. So by me going to, let's say, music class from basically 4 to 6, normally if I didn't go to music class, I would be walking home on the street to where there was a shooting or something like that right there. So by me going there, that saved me, because that would have been the exact path that I would have been walking and could have been hit by the crossfire, etc., which I've had friends get hit and,
right.
demise based on that.
Music is
yes. Yeah. Safety net.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, any other final thoughts, anything that you all want to share before we say goodbye?
One thing you should know about, what were you saying?
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, one thing you should know about Adam and I is we are embarrassingly dorky nerds. And we are very cool, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school, so what that words mean, dorky nerd?
They are jokesters. They love to joke.
You'll probably see that on stage a wee bit.
No, I love that.
There's a BTS shot from the Love Lives music video where we tried to do a high five. Like, we're looking so cool in the car. Like, we have the sweet car convertible. And like, we try to high five and miss by like a mile and almost fall out of the car. And that's a pretty accurate description of what we're like. We look cool, but we're not. We don't know.
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm pretty cool.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I love that.
With all the support and anybody listening to the music, it's been personally for me so wonderful. And if you come to our show and you see this type of joy, you'll also experience good music, good instrumentation, people who really love playing their instruments and love vibing with the crowd. And we got years of experience, and I can't wait for the world to see what the Calamatix has to offer in the live show.
You guys are really and truly at an incredibly wonderful space right now as we speak. Career,
so excited.
Thank you.
Imagine. I can only imagine from a distance the level of excitement, enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I also think it's a very good time as well for the music and what you all offer. And we touched on this, obviously, whether it's playing to the ska scene, the what's considered the Cali reggae scene, even punk scene, soul scene, whatever to mainstream, whatever that might be. So sky's the limit, and again, congrats so far, and we know that you all are just not just getting started. It is interesting to hear. I mean, you all have been going at it behind the scenes, and so I always think it's when people say they came out of nowhere or whatever. Obviously, we know that's not true. That you all put a lot of heart.
Been around the block.
Been around, but it's time for your fans to in the world to hear and see you. So again, we're looking forward to it. I'm going to try to make it a chain reaction, so I'll make sure to say hi.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely. Thank you
Perfect.
so much.
Any parting words for your
Our-
fans,
our
friends,
pleasure.
relatives?
Visit your website, right? And social
What was
media.
that?
Any
Yeah,
parting
visit
words?
visit all our social media handles, our websites, and we thank you all for the love and support and positivity that you have been giving us. We love it. Spread the word. Try to come to the shows if you can, and say hi to us.
Yes.
Yeah, come say hi.
You know, tell
Yeah,
fans to
come
get
say hi
autographs
and
now. Yeah, get
enjoy
autographs
yourself.
now.
Autographs now.
Yes.
Autograph.
Get your high fives.
Right.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm smacking myself
Right,
in the face.
right. No, this has been great. We really appreciate your time, Raylin, Clarence, Adam. Yeah, much more to come. Junior, thank you.
Yes, I think we reached our destination, huh?
Indeed.
Well, thanks to everyone for the support, and please subscribe to this podcast series and our YouTube channel. Follow at History of LA Ska on Instagram and join our Facebook group. And it's really important. The Facebook group is really growing, as is Instagram, really and truly growing leaps and bounds.
And
Yes.
and Junior, thank you for everything.
Yes, but I should point out that
Thank
this series is produced by my good friend here, Eric Kohler, on Rockery Radio. So thanks indeed.
And the Calamatix, thank you all again, Raylin, Clarence, Adam. And we want to also thank you all out there for listening and watching. And please do your part to celebrate and preserve the scene. And I'll leave you with, come on out, put on your dancing shoes, and enjoy yourself. Much love and be well. Thank you all. Until
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you so much for having
Thank you.
us.
Our
welcome.
Thanks for
pleasure.
having us.
Be well.
Thank
Take care, everyone.
All right.
Bye now.
You guys have a great
Bye,
night.
guys.
All right, you as well.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.